Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
Good afternoon. We're glad you're with us on WKYT. Bill Bryant and Barbara Bailey reporting. We're still tracking damage this afternoon after Tuesday's severe wind and storms that rolled through. We're learning now 2 EF1 tornadoes have been confirmed that they touched down in central Kentucky.
One tornado was confirmed along Vine Street in Bourbon County, the other in Stamping Ground in Scott County. WKYT's Sean Moody joins us live now from Bourbon County. That's our top story here at 12:30. Sean?
Well, good afternoon. The National Weather Service was out here this morning. They say this was an EF1 tornado. They believe it was between 50 and 75 yards wide, and they think it was on the ground for about a quarter of a mile. Police say 2 houses were destroyed and a lot of others in the Claysville neighborhood damaged. They're letting people in and out of the neighborhood to grab their things, but they're still not allowed to stay in their homes. Last night, emergency officials evacuated them because of the damage and the nearby gas leak. About 75 people in all. Several of them stayed at Bourbon County High School overnight. Today, they're coming back to get medication, clothes, food, and anything else they might need for now. I talked with one woman who said her house is gone. She says the tornado actually sucked her right out of her kitchen.
It just seemed like it was just like in slow motion, and then all of a sudden the roof just caved down on my head, and then it sounded like just a swift wind just blew me out the side of my kitchen door, and there I was laying on the porch with debris and my door and everything laying on top of me.
Now, the city manager said utility crews from Frankfort and Nicholasville have both been there this morning trying to get power restored. He expects they'll have all the power back on in the neighborhood by about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Live in Bourbon County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
The National Weather Service is also checking out other damage throughout Bourbon County.
And we're also tracking storm damage in Scott County. That's where another EF1 tornado touched down, according to the National Weather Service. Rebecca Smith joins us now from Stamping Ground with a look at the damage there. Rebecca?
A team from the National Weather Service is here in Stamping Ground assessing the damage. Several homes were damaged because of yesterday's storms with high winds ripping through this area. Some people's porches were just completely ripped off their homes. Others really had minimal damage to sheds and other things, but most of the damage here in Scott County. The Turner's home was one of the worst damaged we saw here in Stamping Ground. The side porch was ripped off and thrown across a field by the powerful winds of an EF1 tornado. That was confirmed by the National Weather Service early Wednesday morning. Now, the roof was partially ripped off. They'll have to use a tarp to cover it until it can be repaired. With potential rain in the forecast starting tomorrow and going into the weekend, they'll need it.
And I heard the roaring noise, and I looked out and there it was. There by that truck, I guess, coming right straight to wood, and I said, we got to get in the bathroom or somewhere. I said, that's a tornado. And before I even had time to turn around, mostly it went through and done what it done.
While it only took assessment crews give or take an hour to determine that this was a higher grade EF1 tornado, could take them a little while longer to determine exactly how much ground was covered when this tornado struck. In Scott County, Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
And in Harrison County, that's where 3 barns and dozens of trees were destroyed in yesterday's storm. The storms leveled 2 barns and damaged a lot of equipment. A roof from one barn was ripped off and thrown into another building. The National Weather Service will be touring that area today to try to determine if it was in fact a tornado. One Harrison County man says he has a lot of cleaning up to do, but he's thankful that no one was hurt.
I really did not know what to expect when I got here. I'm very thankful that no one was hurt, no one was killed. This is all things can be replaced.
There were thousands of people without power in and around Cynthiana after that storm and for some time after that, but according to the map that tracks those outages, they have all now been repaired.
Parts of northern Kentucky also damaged in the storms. This is what Maysville looked like from the air last night. Police say strong winds knocked over 3 semis, and pumps from a gas station near the AA highway were tossed into the road. Police also reported downed trees and power lines around Maysville.
And we are just now learning this afternoon that a third tornado has been confirmed after yesterday's storms.
An EF1 tornado has been confirmed near Sharpsburg in Bath County. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is tracking it all for us in the First Alert Weather Center. Micah?
So far, just a little recap, we have 3 confirmed EF1 tornadoes, all at 100 miles an hour plus. And that's going to be there in Scott County, one working your way over toward Bourbon County, and now that one coming on in Bath County. So here are your reports. Look how isolated this is. I mean, it's right in this one section that just did not move whatsoever. If you were sitting in Georgetown yesterday, you know as well as I do, it was one after another, and that's exactly what we were looking for as we went throughout the afternoon yesterday. Down toward the south, we had bits and pieces here and there, but really is that one section stretching anywhere from, say, Oldham County, work your way off into Scott County, and all the way down toward the Mountain Parkway. So as of right now, they're getting some cleanup going on and still some ongoing surveys. We could have even more tornadoes be confirmed throughout the rest of the afternoon from the National Weather Service there in Jackson and Louisville. Outside, it looks beautiful, good for cleanup. Unfortunately, you got to clean up. 69 degrees the rest of the afternoon. Some will be in the lower 70s. And overnight, pretty chilly, and then clouds on the increase tomorrow, which will bring in some rain, and that will last for quite some time. Show you your weekend forecast in about 10 minutes.
Micah, thank you. School is letting out early today at West Jessamine High School after a water main break. School Superintendent Kathy Fields tells us they'll have an early dismissal. This only affects West Jessamine High School.
This afternoon, we're learning about a crash in Scott County that killed 3 people and sent another 3 people to the hospital. A horrible situation. The coroner now telling us that 22-year-old Trevor Spencer, his 3-year-old son, Skylar Spencer, and 29-year-old Corey Wilcoxon were all pronounced dead at the scene. It happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon on Stamping Ground Road at Duval Station Road. The coroner tells us that wind and rain from a storm played a role in the crash. No word yet on the other victims who were injured.
And in McCreary County, we now know the identities of a father and son who died in a head-on crash last night. The coroner there tells us that 68-year-old Pallas Anderson and his son, 47-year-old Samuel Anderson, died after a crash on US 27 in the Pine Knot community. The coroner says a Chevy Trailblazer crossed the median and slammed into a Buick. The driver of the Trailblazer, 29-year-old Shay Coffey, was flown to a Tennessee hospital and is listed now in critical condition. The coroner says the crash is not weather-related.
2 men were arrested in Laurel County after police say they were found stealing copper. Deputies say 39-year-old James Hicks and 27-year-old Eddie Parsley were arrested after they were cutting copper wiring off of telephone poles on Chapel Road. Both Hicks and Parsley had wire cutters and a large amount of copper in their possession. Both have been charged with public intoxication as well as theft, receiving stolen property, and criminal mischief.
We're tracking the latest this afternoon as a UK football player answers to rape charges. 19-year-old Lloyd Tubman is accused of raping a woman on campus. He was arrested yesterday. Police say Tubman is charged in a rape that happened in a dorm room last week. He's set to be arraigned in a matter of minutes in Fayette District Court. That's one day after being suspended indefinitely from the team. Coach Mark Stoops says he is, quote, very concerned about the allegations and all parties involved.
Well, why going out to eat is now getting healthier.
And another reason to quit smoking. Ebony Williams has details in this Better Living report.
New research finds that tobacco users may be more likely to develop a viral infection that causes oral cancers. Doctors at Johns Hopkins University don't know why smokers appear to be more susceptible to the HPV infection, but suspect the virus may not be cleared from the body as easily in people who use tobacco. Researchers at the University of Michigan want hospitals to be more accountable for diagnosis and care of sepsis. The condition develops when the body overreacts to an infection. It accounts for half of all hospital deaths. And it looks like large chain restaurants are doing their part to offer healthier meals. A new study finds chain restaurants have reduced calories 12% since 2013. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Ebony Williams, CBS News, New York.
And we hope you keep it here on WKYT. There's a lot more coming up in our news. You can get rid of those household hazardous materials you've been wondering about, how to dispose of them properly. We'll have details coming up on the Fall Haul.
Also, see storybooks come to life at a cat sale. We'll tell you all about it.